What's up, Savvy Expats? My name is Julio, and today we're going to be talking about my living expenses here in Bonifacio Global City as an expat. So let's get into it. Living in Bonifacio Global City certainly isn't cheap. It's a first-class metropolitan area where most foreigners like me usually live in. It's got shopping malls, plazas, and a heck ton of restaurants everywhere you go. Now let's dive into my specific living expenses. So first of all, let's start with housing. Renting an apartment in Bonifacio Global City can be quite expensive, especially if you want to live in a central location close to amenities and work. I currently pay around 50,000 pesos or around $1,000 for a two-bedroom apartment in a mid-rise building called Forbeswood Heights that has a gym, pool, and other amenities. It's very convenient for me and my family because of how close we are to Forbstown. It's filled with restaurants, bars, and including a marketplace. It's also very nice at night because of how everyone hangs around in this area. So you should try it out. And now let's talk about groceries. Me and my family usually buy groceries inside the marketplace or a landmark. And as for prices, well, me and my family also try to stick to a budget for groceries. But prices for imported goods can be quite high in the Philippines, especially with the ongoing inflation everywhere around the world. So in our personal experience, we usually spend around 25,000 pesos or around $500 per month for groceries. Next up, let's talk about food. Bonifacio Global City has a diversity of eateries, from fancy restaurants to street food stalls. BGC has an abundance of options, like Western restaurants such as Shake Shack or local food chains such as Jollibee. It's pretty amazing the amount of options that you have here in BGC. So usually it comes out around 5,000 pesos or $100 per week by eating out with my family. So in the end, it costs around 20,000 pesos or $400 per month. Now, let's move on to transportation. Bonifacio Global City has a decent public transportation system with jeepneys, buses, and taxis, although taxis are the most annoying to use because of the drivers wanting to charge you extra. It's still good to use because they're running throughout the city. I also like to use ride-hailing apps like Ankas, Grab, or Joyride. Why? Because it's convenient, cheap, and easy to use. So you better download this app if you want a shorter ride overall. I typically spend around 1,500 pesos or 3,000 pesos per week, or in dollars, I spend around $30 or $60 per week. But if you're talking by the end of the month, it's around 6,000 pesos or 12,000 pesos per month, or around $120 to $240. Now, let's talk about entertainment and leisure. Bonifacio Global City has plenty of options for entertainment, like movie theaters, clubs like Zaleo and Nectar, or live music venues. I also like to spend time outdoors, so I often go out with my friends or family in the surrounding area. It's really nice too because of how beautiful the weather usually is. I usually spend around 3,000 pesos or $60 per week on entertainment or leisure activities. So that's around 12,000 pesos or around $240 per month. And finally, let's talk about miscellaneous expenses. This includes things like laundry, toiletries, and other household items. A common miscellaneous expense, not only for me, but for most local Filipinos, is load. So in order for me to text or call my contacts, I usually have to load 100 pesos per week. So this is a common reoccurring expense, so we as expats need to keep that in mind. Other than that, another miscellaneous expense is using Mover for scooters or bikes around BGC. While BGC is a pedestrian-friendly city, I most often opt to use scooters or bikes to move around BGC since it's fast and cheap. So the price to use the scooters are 30 pesos per 10 minutes, and for the bikes it's 25 pesos per 15 minutes. So if you're looking for a both fun and convenient way to get around the city in a fast manner, hop on a scooter or a mover bike. I usually spend around 2,000 pesos to 3,000 pesos per week on miscellaneous expenses. So that around dollars concludes to maybe around $40 to $60. So in the end, that's around 8,000 pesos to 12,000 pesos per month. And in dollars, that concludes to $160 to $240. So in total, I spend around 110,000 pesos to 130,000 pesos per month for living in Bonifacio Global City. And in dollars, that concludes to around $2,200 to $2,600 per month. So, while BGC is not the cheapest city to live in, the convenience and quality of life here has made it worthwhile for me and my family to be here. It's clean, safe, convenient, modernized, and most of all, westernized. Now, I can't end without expressing how many expats Evan and I have met that has left the West for the Philippines. The kind of expats that wants to live in a unique country in Asia, like the Philippines, without losing the conveniences of living in the West. Seeing that there's literally no better city in the Philippines than BGC, Evan made a guide giving you everything you need to know about BGC. You name it, we covered it. So whether it be the cost of living, most popular attractions, must-see places, and even touring the condos you can potentially reside in, we show all that you need to know to seamlessly transition here. So if you're interested to see if this city is for you, feel free to check out the link down below in the description. So Savvy Expats, hope y'all enjoyed. You'll be seeing me more often in the Savvy Expat channel, and well, I'll catch you on the next one. God bless.